Now let's set for the details. Electricity consumers will now have to brace themselves for 78.9% increase in their bills effective October 1. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, which announced the new tariffs, says consumers will also have to pay 52% for the water which runs through their taps. The PURC, meanwhile, says implementation of the automatic adjustment formula should ensure consumers do not have to see a hike in tariffs over the next 3 years.
Residential customer class, that is those on lifeline 0 to 50 consumption, the existing tariff in Ghana pesos per kilowatt hour is 9.5, and the approved tariff is 15.675, which results in a percentage increase of 65%. Then 51 to 150, the existing is 17.5785, and then the approved tariff is 31.4479. And the increase is 78.9%. Approved water rates effective October 1, 2013. For the residential category, and those who fall in the class of 1 to 20 meter cube, you have 85.26 as the existing tariff, and then it moves on to 129.5952, an increase of 52%. And then 20 plus, the existing tariff is 127.81. Approved tariff is 194.2712, also an increase of 52%.
The approved electricity tariffs are significantly less than the 150% the PURC floated last week, and a lot less than what the utility companies had proposed. The PURC, however, explains it hasn't completely dismissed the request of the utility companies and that they could enjoy an automatic adjustment in the tariffs if they meet certain conditions.
The automatic adjustment formula will kick in after 3 months, but it will depend on the situation we see on the ground. If, for instance, we see gas coming in large amounts, certainly we might not apply it. If we see that the quality of service is not up to scratch, we might not apply it. So it depends on what we see, and it is also part of the mechanism to monitor quality of service. We're not going to give them a quantum amount. We've given them what will be enough for them for operation and maintenance and what will be enough for VRA to buy crude oil.
The Commission is meanwhile threatening sanctions against service providers who fail to perform.
One of the key ones is to refuse them a tariff through the automatic adjustment formula. We have penalties that we give them that goes with penalty units. We are going to review our law to strengthen these penalty units. We even have some form of imprisonment. Yes, the law allows us to imprison the utility service, whoever is in charge.
The water and electricity utilities providers have argued the request for over 100% increment is to enable them cover operational and maintenance costs. But the ECG's Divisional Manager for Regulatory and Governmental Affairs, Daniel Azu, says they will make do with the approved tariffs.
What it really means is that we did not get what we wanted. And what it means is that we will use what we have gotten now to do the works that we need to do to be able to continue to improve the service to our customers. I won't say you are not satisfied. You are satisfied because the regulators have the mandate and they have ruled. You cannot say you are not satisfied with what they have ruled.
According to the utilities providers, government has covered most of its debt as at December 2012. The ECG, NEDCO, and the Ghana Water Company say they have taken steps to ensure prompt and better service delivery to customers.
But the public obviously is not excited by the increase, and we've been speaking to some of them.
The current fiscal pressures of the economy are glaring, leaving many with the fear of the country going bankrupt, with several calls to address it. The latest to add its voice is the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, whose research on the economy in 2012 reveals a budget deficit of over 8.7 million cedis, representing 12% of GDP, compared to 4.3% of GDP in 2011. For economists, the growing fiscal deficits, if not addressed, will plunge the country into a precarious situation.
Well, we do apologize for that mix-up, but workers of the State Transport Company, STC, yesterday staged a demonstration over poor working conditions, denying passengers use of their buses. According to the workers, they had not seen an increase in their salaries for the past 10 years, stating that senior drivers at the moment earn less than 300 Ghana cedis. MFA Atiamwa Eli has more.
The aggrieved workers wore red bands and chanted discontentedly on the premises of the head office of the State Transport Company. According to them, they do not know who is actually in charge of STC in terms of management, and until they get the answers, they will continue to demonstrate. The local vice chair, Victor Nyankote, enumerated a host of issues workers are not happy about and demanded the current management be removed to give life back to STC.
Today, we are saying that we want the management out for whoever owns this place to bring their people to come and manage this place. As we speak, if you throw your camera into the workshop, you see a whole lot of buses that are packed, and if you ask, you could see that it's mismanagement. So we are demonstrating today. One, we want our PF to be paid to us, we want salary increment, and we want to know who owns STC.
At the time of Joy News's visit to the yard, no senior official was available. The workers complained none of them had reported to work that morning. The leaders of the demonstration claim they had messaged that some of them had gone to the Smith's guest house, inviting them over for dialogue.
The last time that they talked about our increment, it was the MD who proposed that he's going to give us 12% salary increment. And my sister, for 10 good years, somebody who is taking about 200 or 300 Ghana, and you are going to give him 12%, is it not an insult? While you are taking about 75 million a month.
Some travelers were caught up in the demonstration, shared their frustration with the news team.
Okay, so now let's go back to our earlier story where the public is obviously excited about the increase in utility tariffs. So let's find out what they've been saying.
As Ghanaians, we must not be too worried about the increment of water bill and so on. You see, when you compare Ghanaian workers to those in the diaspora, you see a vast difference. Whereas those in the developed world work for what they are paid for. We Ghanaians do not work according to what we demand from the government.
We just pray that if it increase also, that the government should try and think about the salary also. Yes, then to help, to try to help, because immediately if they help a little bit the salary also, now people cannot, it can be a balance.
There wouldn't be any problem in increasing. But I don't see the reason why the government should allow we, the consumers, to go through such an ordeal. In the sense that, how can you be providing me with the services which I'm supposed to pay for, and at the end of the day, understand, you don't provide an effective services, and still because I don't have any other choice, okay, than to pay, I'll be forced to pay.
To some of us who do government work, we've not seen any increment in our salaries, yet we are seeing increment in the bills, which I think is going to affect us a lot. So maybe for some of us, we cannot feel it if we get increment in our salaries.
We've invested in a new group of people, a new set of government. Let's see what comes out. Let's see what they can do for us, because we are always expecting them to give us the best of the best. So we don't know for this new set of government. We'll wait and see what they can do for us.
Okay, now away from the utility tariff increase, government officials have variously blamed a slowdown in economic activity in the first 7 months of the year on the court case challenging the 2012 election results, which declared John Mahama as president. Trade Minister Haruna Iddrisu had indicated the petition cost the country a great deal and discouraged foreign direct investment. But the acting government statistician at the release of provisional GDP growth rate for 2013 does not quite agree, even though the Ghana Statistical Service estimates a provisional growth rate of 7.4% less than government's projected 8%. Philomena Nyako says the economy, if anything at all, may have actually benefited from the petition. In an answer to a question put by a journalist, she said the contribution of the petition falls under administration and support services.
Administration and support services rose by 4.8%. So the court cases might have contributed but to the general level, but at least we saw a rise in the administrative and support service.
Now, Star Ghana has signed a $1.92 million grant agreement to sponsor media projects. The funding is expected to help media organizations undertake projects aimed at improving the quality of life and enhance national development. Programs Manager Ibrahim Tanko Amidu explains the initiative is aimed at strengthening media civil society collaboration for effective governance.
The Media Call initiative by Star Ghana is expected to provide financial and technical support to media organizations to fully undertake projects that are targeted at highlighting and addressing critical societal issues for nation building. The 14-month project, signed between Star Ghana and 21 different media organizations, is to strengthen media civil societal collaborations for greater transparency, accountability and responsiveness at all levels of governance. Project manager for Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, said his outfit is committed to increasing the influence of civil society and parliament in the governance.
What Star Ghana is about, to increase the influence of citizens in the way the delivery of public goods and services are governed. So what we're actually seeking to do through this call is really to provide you with the capacity and the resources to fulfill an obligation that has been imposed on you by the Constitution of this country.
Chair of the Star Ghana Steering Committee, Professor Akila Pasoya, explains the essence of the project.
The purpose is to provide support to the media to work more effectively with other civil society organizations to enhance citizen advocacy for greater transparency, responsiveness, and accountability, emphasizing anti-corruption and effective public financial management. It also aims to improve media access and voice for all citizens, particularly those who are socially marginalized, the poor, as well as those who are living in the private areas of the country.
Multimedia Ghana Limited, a beneficiary to the grant, was awarded $100,000 for a clean community project which spearheads an intensive media campaign to create a national awareness for clean communities.
We want to empower the people to take control of their own sanitation situation. We want them to think about sanitation as something that is personal to them, not something that is outside. It's not a government problem or a Zoomlion problem. It's a Ghana problem. Hopefully with Clean Communities, we'll go to 5 communities around the country. We'll do sensitization, media campaigns. We'll have forums. We'll invite stakeholders. We'll also let the communities come out and tell us what exactly they need to bring a sort of sanitation drive. We want to create a national impetus to make sure that from clean communities, we get a clean Ghana.
Professor Akila Pasoya stressed on the need for beneficiaries to be transparent in the execution of their projects, since they will be called upon to render accounts for their projects.
Well, we say a big thank you to Star Ghana for the support, and to the team here at and to the team in-house, we say more grease to your elbows and the best of luck with the project. But moving on, a new acting managing director for the Ghana Airports Company has been named. His Charles Asari, and he's been appointed by the reconstituted board of the company headed by Tony Letha. He's taken over from Doreen Owusu-Fianko, who was sacked by the defunct board headed by George Kuntu Blankson. A banker by profession, Mr. Asare was once the Director General of the National Pension Trust, SNIT. He has over 25 years of senior management, banking and finance experience in corporate Africa and the US. And that's it for the AM News. But before we go, second look at our top stories. Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has approved a 78% increase in electricity tariffs and 52% tariff increase in water. Workers of the State Transport Company, STC, yesterday staged a demonstration over poor working conditions, denying services to passengers in the process. And Star Ghana has signed a $1.92 million grant agreement to sponsor media projects, including that to be undertaken by Multi TV. And that's it for the AM News. AM Sports comes up shortly. Okay, so time now for us to be looking at sports, and but my partner in crime, if you accept the title, if is in the studio. Good morning, Ifua.
Morning, Smart.
Would you accept the title?
Oh yeah,
partner
sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's nice.
Let's do some sports. Remember, sports on the AM show is brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo.
Okay, so welcome to sports.
Yeah, and let's go on to our first story. Now, some Ghanaian Premier League clubs risk being banned after a stern warning from Continental Football Governing Body CAF. Now, all Premier League clubs have been directed to have certain structures in place by the end of 2013 before being allowed to participate in next season's league. This forms part of the club licensing directive by CAF to ensure clubs have a sound financial, administrative and legal backing to sustain them in the elite league. Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantechi has been speaking to the matter with Joy Sports.
CAF Executive Committee took a position that the club licensing requirements must be implemented by all member associations, and all member associations were given up to December 2013 to comply, or else your clubs will not be able to participate in the CAF interclub competitions. And so it means that effective January 2014, any country that has not made into its domestic law the club licensing regulations and also comply with the licensing requirements of the club licensing system, you will not be able to take part in any CAF interclub competition. And this is very important. It's important because the whole concept of club licensing is supposed to professionalize club management in Africa. And if we are not able to comply with this requirement, it means your club will not be able to play football at the highest level in Africa. The Ghana Football Association complied with the CAF directive. So as of 2011, we had done our statutes. 2012, we had even gone ahead to organize seminars to create awareness and conscientize our clubs about the requirements of the club licensing system. So as I speak to you now, the executive committee decided to stagger the implementation of all the requirements. And the key and major ones are the legal requirement, infrastructure, human resource, and administration, which we have done. Now the next one is a financial requirement, which we have to make sure we implement before the end of the year, and also make sure that the key administrative personnel and all those people are in place. And so Ghana is on course. We're on course. We have even gone a step ahead of the CAF requirement because some national associations have not even complied with it.
Well, let's stay with football a while longer. And, well, as Ghana prepares to play its final qualifier in the 2014 World Cup against Egypt, the calls still keep coming in for players to be invited because the coach is looking at bringing in players from all over the world. And there have been calls for goalkeeper Richard Kinsing and Sule Muntari, among others. But former GFA chairman Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo wants Black Stars head coach Kwesi Appiah to bury the hatchet with the AC Milan midfielder Sule Ali Muntari and invite him for the two clashes that Ghana has against Egypt in Cairo and in Kumasi.
I think our match with them here on October 15 is what we should take very, very seriously. Now, Egypt, 7 times African Cup of Nations, but I don't think they are a threat at all. Since I think the early 60s, we have been defeating them on and off. They do defeat us also. Ghana 4 times African champions. You know, we got a pedigree. We have people now. What I would suggest is that the coach should try and get on board all those. He feels they are very good and fit. And my suggestion will go to, I think he should try and get in Muntari, you know, despite all the problems that boy carries, you know. And then also...
And Doc, before you go ahead, that's a very interesting point you've raised there. You are known to be the no-nonsense man, the man who believes very much in discipline. And here's a player who, set a very bad example for the younger generation within the team. Now he's suffering the results of his actions, and you think we should just brush it off?
No, I'm not saying that should be brushed off. He's been punished once. I think even twice. My time we have to suspend him for a longer period. I think when the coach refused to pick him this time around, that is enough punishment for him. Muntari is what I call a raw diamond, you know. At times, you know, he becomes a matchmaker too. So we have to watch carefully because this match is so important to this nation. I think the coach should bend back a bit and call him into the team. And if he misbehaves, I doubt if he will do that. If he misbehaves, of course, he can be ejected finally. But when I look at Muntari, I think Muntari in our midfield will help a lot. It will help a lot. I've seen that boy. In fact, it was in my era that he came to the forefront. Now, we also have to look at John Mensah. I think John Mensah will be needed in the central defense if he's fit. If John Mensah is fit, I would advise the coach to invite him. You know, and our central defense is good, but you know you can see some cracks when there's pressure on them. And I think the coach also is lucky to have all these stars now. Essien is back in the team now. The Ayew brothers, you know, very.
Well, away from that, the board of directors of Ghana Premier League defending champions Kumasi Asante Kotoko is set to benefit from a training tour of English Premiership outfit Sunderland, while the board from Sunderland also do same of Kotoko. The exchange program forms part of a partnership agreement between the two sides. Gary Hutchison is director at Sunderland, and he has been speaking with Joy Sports.
We have invited the board to come and visit Sunderland in early October and to look at our full operation and to see how it works and bring best practices back here to Ghana and to Kumasi to help Asante Kotoko in various forms. There will then be visits between the two businesses. We will come back out in January. Gordon will come back out in January, and he will be helping coach your coaches at Premier League level, and we're also looking at lots of other things. So it was basically a discussion around art of the possible today, and then we have defined individual contacts as well.
Okay, so on that Kotoko note,
we end
wrap
sports.
up sports on the AM show, but you can't get see off Tigo.